Well, hello, everybody. So, question for you today. Are you in your right mind? Are you in your right mind? This is the topic, right and wrong mindedness, on this video. And we're in chapter 2, part 5 of the text, 5a, right? Special principles of miracle workers. And we're just going a couple at a time. So the reading is not extensive here, yet these very, very short sentences have a lot to tell us. And we all have a lot to learn. So the question is, are we in our right mind? And, well, are we in our wrong mind? How do we distinguish between the two? And in the world, we often take a look at someone's behavior and wonder to ourselves, and often we say out loud, is this person in their right mind? They're not in their right mind. They're nuts. They're crazy. Based on what they may say, based on their behavior, you may look at someone's social media posts and affirm, judge right away that they're not in their right mind. And, well, they may look at your social media posts and say the exact same thing. I know. It's always fun to use social media as an example of the ego at play, isn't it? Because it's right out there. It's right out there, and almost everyone is consuming it in one way or another. So in paragraph 13 here, special characteristics of miracle workers, we're invited to learn and to know the difference between right and wrong-mindedness, and not to confuse the two. This is really important because here in the world where we identify with our individuality, whatever that is, really, what is that really? It's nothing. That's the answer. When we identify as a human body, as our job, as our marital status, as our national country of origin, and within that, an ethnic group, when we have all these labels and monikers that we have artificially assigned to ourselves, and we think this is who we are, and therefore we define and defend personal territory. We define it by saying, oh, I'm an adult male, age 51, from Arizona. It may seem benign. It's in fact defining personal territory. What happens when we define personal territory in the world is we then defend that personal territory. It's quite like taking a dog and putting it in a house or a fenced enclosure, which it defines as its space, and it defends against all comers, real and imagined. It's like that. Yes, it's like that. That is not flattering, nor is it intended to be flattering. Part of the spiritual path is becoming aware of and acknowledging some unflattering truths about our behavior, about ourselves, our lowercase s self, ego, identity. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we'd prefer to sweep away, to hide away in a dark closet, to sweep under the rug, so to speak, and not deal with. Yeah, mañana, right? Yeah, I'll deal with that later. I don't want to look at that because it's too painful. Yet here on the spiritual path, we're tasked with raising this to our awareness and looking at it as it comes up. Ooh. And that's why I say it's an adult endeavor, because part of our free will to choose love or fear, God or the ego, light or dark, life or death, part of that is the fact that you can choose to run and hide. The truth is never foisted on us by force. The Holy Spirit is patient and waits for us to ask him, it, for guidance. The Holy Spirit waits for us to give our experience over to him so that he may step in and teach us correct perception, which is what this course is about. Wrong-mindedness is judgment. Wrong-mindedness is thinking you're an individual. Wrong-mindedness is ego identification. Right-mindedness is often also referred to as miracle-mindedness. Right-mindedness is the state of mind where we choose to see everything that shows up in our lives as an opportunity to forgive. And we actually do that forgiveness. One thing to recognize the opportunity, but then you've got to act on it, don't you? Yeah, again, an adult endeavor. And we can all choose to slack off and go run and hide in a corner. And what's going to continue to find us? The forgiveness opportunities until we take the opportunity. It will continue to follow you because you can wall yourself off and your mind is still with you. You can attempt to barricade yourself behind a wall and you're still with yourself. Can't really run forever because the same lessons will keep presenting themselves over and over and over again in different ways until you forgive, until you take the opportunity. An adult endeavor. So I've often referred to pure non-duality, to A Course in Miracles, as the shortest line in all spirituality. So if you don't want to wait in line and you want to go home, thanks for joining me. Because there's a lot of other stuff out there, isn't there? So it's worth asking yourself, what led you to this video? I know the answer to that, but ask yourself that. And quick hint, I, Reverend Tomas Garza, did not lead you to this. Definitely not. What you see before you, as I'm fond of saying, is an image on your screen. Who's really talking to you? That's the question. So we're encouraged to know the difference between right-mindedness and wrong-mindedness, and not to confuse the two. In the world, we confuse the two when we identify as an ego and judge, as an individual, as someone who's cooler than somebody else, more intelligent than somebody else, right? And they're wrong. Any kind of distinction at all is wrong-mindedness. Right-mindedness is offering forgiveness, extending love, inviting the Holy Spirit to run the show, giving over your entire experience, every aspect, to your inner teacher for, well, correction, reinterpretation. It's a learning opportunity, and it's also setting the ego aside. So when we see somebody acting out, behaving badly, responding to error, and the error is, there's only one error, and that's the perceived separation. takes many different forms. You could see someone acting badly on social media. So what do we do when someone posts a political post that we don't agree with? And this is a person that we actually know. Let's say it's on our Facebook feed or something like that, because we all have those friends and family members that don't see things the way we do. This is duality, right? This is individuality. People have their individual views. And some people will say things just because they can that will rankle us, piss us off, cause us to have very judgmental thoughts. Sometimes really nasty, violent, judgmental thoughts, if we're honest. So when we see someone acting out on social media, let's say they're attacking somebody in a post, that's error, right? It's an expression of the fundamental error of separation, the one error. There's only one error to be corrected. And as we discover, it has many different forms, but the content is exactly the same. It's the perceived separation. So this person's being judgmental. How do you then react? How do you respond? Responding to error with anything other than right-mindedness expresses the confusion of right and wrong-mindedness. What's the appropriate response to somebody who judges? Well, pre-Course in Miracles, right? Pre-spiritual path, pre-spiritual practice, we might think that the appropriate response is to judge them right back and tell ourselves or tell everybody in the world, or, God forbid, comment on their post that they're wrong, because we can do that. Don't recommend it, of course, but, we all have free will. So pre-Course in Miracles, the response might be instantaneous, habitual, ingrained, shoot right back. So right-mindedness forgives. Anything that rankles you, anything that causes you any kind of upset or discomfort in any way is, in fact, an opportunity for forgiveness. Now, that person that you know posting nasty, attacking, hateful, vindictive, judgmental political posts on your social media feed, which you're reading, that's an opportunity for you to forgive. That's right-mindedness. To respond to wrong-mindedness, to respond to error with anything other than right-mindedness, is to perpetuate the error. It's confusion. One way that this is also characterized that I find really helpful, just let's talk about this for a moment, is that everything that someone does is either an expression of love or it's a call for love. Let this idea permeate your mind that when someone acts out, it's in fact a call for love. Like a toddler who wants attention, this young child will do anything to get attention, like a dog. Same thing. They will do anything to garner your attention, good or bad. It's the exact same idea. Someone who behaves badly is, in fact, issuing a call for love, cry for help. I mean, really, a call for love. This is very helpful. What's the appropriate response? Right-mindedness, forgiveness. You could choose to see everything in that way. So paragraph 14, some really interesting comments that we can talk about here. The miracle, let's take forgiveness, denies error. It's not real. It denies error and affirms truth. as in, I'm forgiving you, political poster, for what you didn't do. Because we've never been separate. There is no separation of any kind. We're one with God. We're one with our source. Ideas leave not their source. I forgive you and I release this to you, Holy Spirit, Jesus, your inner teacher, your guide or guides. Trust in the strength of your inner teacher. The exact thought process and the exact verbiage that you choose to use in your forgiveness is not scripted. It should be under the direction of your inner teacher. It can be very quick or it can be very elaborate, but what I'm expressing here is the idea. But the miracle is a denial of error and an affirmation of truth. It's suggesting that this is a dream and you're forgiving your brother, who is the outward expression of an inner condition, your own projected guilt and fear. How about that? I mean, that's one to wrap our heads around. This is why we're given a gradual program of awakening, almost all of us, because we've got to wrap our heads around the fact that what we're seeing out there is, in fact, a projection, like an image on the screen. Mind is the projector. Again, if you want to think of it as a movie, that is a very helpful visual analogy. Your mind is the projector, and what we experience in the world, people posting political posts, are the images on the screen. So you don't replace the images on the screen. You don't go to work on the screen because the projector's still showing the same movie. What do? We replace the film in the projector with the thought system of the Holy Spirit. We deny error through the miracle and affirm truth. This is a dream. It has never taken place. Remember, accepting atonement means we accept that the separation never occurred. This never took place. The only way we can correct anything with any real effect is to go to the projector house in the movie theater and switch the film. Take the ego film out of the projector, set it aside. You don't have to burn it or chop it up into pieces or throw it violently in the trash. You just set it aside and replace the ego film with the film of the Holy Spirit at the level of cause. If this is a dream, who's the dreamer? Powerful. There's no one out there. So we are, in fact, when we extend the miracle, forgiving our brother for what he did not do. He didn't do anything to us. There's never been any separation, which is an affirmation of truth. There's never been any separation from our source. We're still there. I forgive what's appearing outside, and it only appears to be outside of me, right? I'm forgiving the images on the screen, my brother, and what is also very helpful, and you can incorporate the language as you're directed and guided, is that we can choose to see our brother as our salvation, as the key to heaven, the way to heaven. We can choose to see our brother's holiness, and in forgiving, truly forgiving according to this thought system of A Course in Miracles, that's what we're doing. This is what sets the ego aside. Denying error, affirming truth, trusting in your inner teacher, who, by the way, does the deep inner healing. We're only responsible for forgiving what appears in our experience here in the world. The rest, the unconscious guilt, is healed by the Holy Spirit. Trust in that. So, right-mindedness, again, miracle-mindedness. Offer the miracle to the Son of God. I invite you to do that today. Often as you remember to do it. Very, very powerful. That is the practice of A Course in Miracles. And it takes some practice to make it a habit, like anything in this world. Once you make this a habit, what is going on is that deep well of unconscious guilt is being healed. You may or may not see anything on the screen outside to tell you that it's working. But if you've been at this for a while, I invite you to take stock, take a look at where you are today, and then look back to who you were when you began your spiritual practice. And ask yourself, are you more forgiving? Are you more patient? Are you more kind? Do you look at things differently? Do you look at yourself differently? And if you only started the journey this morning or yesterday, still, how different are you right now? Because there may be on the path periods of time, long periods of time, where nothing appears to be happening. Keep forgiving, and that is the way that you can be sure that something actually is happening, that there is healing taking place. Offer the miracle to the Son of God. All right. Subscription buttons right here. I'd love to have you join me. Thank you to all of you who have recently joined us here. And comments and questions are always, always welcome. This course should generate a ton of questions. So if you've got them, I will happily do my best to answer them. And thank you for joining me here. I will see you all again very, very soon.